Susie and I witnessed something incredibly special yesterday, and I wanted to bring it here to you guys. I haven't talked about it with you yet. I was going to bring it up here on the program, and I'm a little hesitant to talk about it because there were some somewhat private things said in what we witnessed on the campus of USC yesterday. But the other hesitancy is, man, do I really want to do this justice and bring it justice? Because it was truly one of the most amazing 2 hours I've spent in quite some time. And Susie said to me earlier in the week, somebody who's she's friends with, and I've gotten to know through her, like pretty much everybody else important in my life, right? Teaching a class at USC, and has been for all year. And it's the last class, and do we want to go and watch him speak? Sure, I'll go. And I really didn't know what to expect. The class is called The Game is Life, and Susie's friend, our friend, teaches it in the Marshall School of Business, teaches it along with the Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, because this person's mantra and way of going about life does have quite a bit of cross-section with some spiritual beliefs and the way that some religions teach about connecting with your inner self. And what is being taught was being taught to these students, lucky enough to be in this class, is being true to oneself, learning who you are as a person, being empathetic and sympathetic, and being open and sharing with others about your world, your mindset, and your abilities to connect with yourself and show emotion, be emotional, and being comfortable with knowing who you are. And if that is who you are as a person, it can be a powerful way to connect with other people and create a team environment. And the way these students spoke about their experiences in this class brought me to tears. And same thing with Susie, and brought some of these students to tears as well. I'm telling you guys, the way these students spoke about their experiences in this class for the year, the way that they said that they have had their lives changed by the professor's abilities to talk with them about connecting with themselves, was mind-blowing. One student said that he had I'll just share it, that he had an accident. A car ran over his head twice, and he thought he should be dead. And he was wondering how to reconnect with the world and himself and who he is as a person after this traumatic experience. And this class changed his life. Another person said he was a musical major and had lost his love for music throughout being a major. And there's all seniors in this room. And that learning about who he is as a person made him understand why he had lost his love for music, but refound it. And now all the music he's going to make is with all of his classmates in mind. And he's dedicating all the music he makes the rest of his life to his fellow students. They all clapped. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because it was not only a life lesson for these kids, but a realization for me and Susie to see these kids are about to graduate. For many of them in the room, it was their last class in the history of their college career. And they were all realizing what they have learned about themselves, what they've learned about how to relate to other people, what they've learned about what the world is like that they're entering and how they can change it. And this coat of armor that was being provided by the professor is going to get them going for the rest of their life. And they're going to be friends forever. And they got up and hung out after the class for half an hour crying and hugging and took a group photograph, and we're going to now zoom into the professor who's been doing it for years. His name is Pete Carroll.
Wow.
And I have never witnessed in 2 hours what I witnessed in Pete Carroll's class, The Game is Life, along with, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct, Varun Soni, the Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, who is wearing a Raiders cap next to Pete. And then that's David Belasco, the adjunct professor of entrepreneurship at USC. There was an author in the room, and I told him afterwards, because he's been there for 16 weeks. The kids referred to him as a fourth professor. I said to him, I don't know, when I first was showing up in the room and I knew there was an author in the room, what book is going to come out of this? Mm-hmm. And now I said, by the end of it, I can't wait to read about this book, because this book started with, a coach who's been a long-time coach in the NFL with a Hall of Fame resume. You know, certainly if he wins one more, if he gets another chance, gets fired and has decided to go back to campus like Thornton Mellon, right, and teach a class. And by the end of the class, coach is hired somewhere else, but the book is now about the kids whose lives have been changed. I'm telling you, Chris and Jay and TJ, they were all giving testimonials to Pete, who probably doesn't want this to be said about him, that he has changed their lives. And just bringing it to you, and I know we're talking, on Raiders Nation Radio in Las Vegas, Nevada. I sat there and thought to myself, if the Raiders are buying what Pete is selling, like these kids in the class, because here's a man, which all we're talking about is how old he is. I can tell you, he related to a group of 20, 21, 22-year-olds like nobody else. He was a peer of theirs, and they of his, because he was talking about how they have helped him learn more about his mantra about the game is life. They were a connective body. I can't recall the last time I was in a room where there was over 100 people, and we were all connected. Susie and I, other people who was the first time in the class. These people were in the class the entire time. They were handpicked for their stories and their abilities to connect by their stories. They were handpicked. One of them, there were several athletes in the room. I was told after the class, one of the students who was there for much of the year, but not over the last few weeks because of what's happened to her, was Juju Watkins was in this class. Really? And I can't recall another time that people have been connected. And like I said, if I'm an owner and I'm sitting there and Pete Carroll's bringing this to my interview, you are hired. Certainly if, Max Crosby's just playing for one guy after another. He's looking for a North Star. All the other Raiders who have been there through the churning have been looking for somebody to sell them something worth buying. And they know it's going to last. And if you want a culture changer, which the Raiders were in desperate need of, I saw it. And yes, I noticed recording it was Gotham Chopra, who, as you know, is with Religion of Sports, who is, the parent of that company. One of them is, yes, Tom Brady, who I was told did, in fact, Zoom in as a guest lecturer over the last year. 2 times Pete couldn't make it to be there in person. One of them was last week because there was something called the NFL draft, but he Zoomed in. These kids love him. They will never forget who their classmates are, and they will never forget who their professors were. This is something they will take with them in every day of the rest of their lives, and it was awesome to see.
That's really cool. And you think about the last few years in Seattle, Pete really was just, kind of the ambassador of vibes, and that just kind of tracks with what you're saying and the experience that you just retold. And I think about what did the Raiders really need in the last few years?
Him.
An adult in the room and positive, good vibes and energy. And that's what Pete is and brings everywhere he goes.
And I saw it. And again, I know all we're going to be talking about with him is how old he is, his age and whatever. That wasn't a number in the room. The number in the room was 100% attention, interest, love, respect, compassion, and taking a sense into the world of everybody you want to meet in the world. Good vibes, good intentions, good thoughts, connectivity, empathy, sympathy, compassion, with a sense of competition. These people want to dominate their professions, whatever they choose. And I'm telling you, man, if that's what he's selling to the Raiders, look out. Now, obviously, there's a roster. There's football to be played. I get it. But the rest of this stuff, the Raiders have checked the box. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.